A very good afternoon to all of you. We will be starting in next 6 minutes. To be very exact. And Dr. Ramakrishnan is already with us. He will be our speaker for this session. And since the schedule is already with you, you are quite aware of the name of the session. It is more like designing the thinking before going for design thinking. Okay. So we'll be starting in exactly 5 minutes. Let all the participants join first. And just for your information, the link for the previous session has been shared again because many of you have missed that because of the internet issues and all. You can refer to that link from there onward. So far, 47 of you have joined, and just wait for our more friends to join in so that we can start. We will be uploading the recorded video on our YouTube channel. You can at the last date of this FDP. Then process of uploading it there, and all the PPTs will also be shared with all the participants to their email ID or maybe through the WhatsApp group we have prepared for the work. I think Dr. K. Balachandran is asking auto-generated mail in the Google form for the responses for the feedback given would be more appreciable. I think do we not have that provision, sir? Have you checked it? I will check my chat. Let me check it. So that I will check the setting. Okay. On setting it was then on the first form it was there. It is not seen in the second. Okay, I will ask my fellow members to check into it. Let's see. For the attendance of inaugural session, it was there. I could see it at the bottom. Let me do that. When we review it, it is a response will be a copy of your responsible mail to the address you provided. Like this is the same thing here. lunches. Showing at the end, when you submit it, a copy of the will be. What you're saying, you are not able to get that email now. That is the problem. The service has been impacted. Okay, let me check it again. Okay. In the meantime, around 2:20 will be starting in 2 minutes. Just to inform you that the attendance link will be shared only through chat box. So kindly be attentive in all the classes. So it's our experience, and when we share it through the WhatsApp group, then the participant number goes down. So we don't want that to happen. I know many people are not like that, but from our past experience, it has been a practice we follow here that we normally share the attendance link through the chat box. The feedback will be there only once a day for all the sessions conducted during the day. Shared, and there will be one exercise also coming in. For, I think Ramnaji has already shared that thing with me. That is with me. I will be sharing it at the end of the session with all of you. Okay, let's start this session. One and all present here. We have 73 at present. Let's hope that many people will join now. So we are already recording. That's so nice. And before we go ahead with the session, I would like to thank Dr. Ramakrishnan Ramani, who will be our speaker for this session. And just a brief about Dr. Ramani. Uh, Dr. Ramani is a design thinker and coach. He is a faculty in School of Design Thinking. He is an anchor, co-anchor at a variety of sessions for both corporate and academic institutions. He also ideates the curriculum of credit courses for university and webinar, which will be particularly important to us. He is a PhD in defense and strategy, masters in the same area. He is a PG diploma in journalism and mass communication, assistant vice president at Intellect Design Arena, and a faculty of School of Design Thinking. His previous profile is a communication specialist at corporate marketing and communication, again, Intellect Design Arena, senior research analyst at Frost and Sullivan, communist strategy at Cognizant, and he was also the editor of the New India Express. He is having more than 17 peer review journal papers in his credit. He is also actively offered guest lectures at the University of Madras for Tamil Nadu and also for the Tamil Nadu Police. Dr. Ramani, it's an honor to have you here on this session. I think I now hand over this virtual dice to you, sir, for the next 1.5 hours. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Thank you very much. I hope you all had a wonderful lunch today. The reason why I'm asking you this question is not because I'm going to make this long and boring, but I would like some interaction from you all. Because being a post-lunch session, it comes with unique peculiarities, with its unique difficulties, right? So the more active, the more participative it is, the better for all of us. And obviously, yes, we'll also learn in the process, right? So with that, let me quickly share my presentation with you all. Right. I believe you'll be seeing my presentation now. It's visible and clear. Okay, the topic that I will be speaking of today, thank you, Dr. Baj, thank you, sir, is on design the thinking for design mindset. Now, if you would have paid some attention to what Dr. Manoj said and outset, right, there's a slight difference. In this particular session, we are not talking of design thinking. We are going to talk of design the thinking, right? And in a way, this is a continuation of what Ramki, my colleague, spoke before the lunch session, right? He spoke about design, the various approaches to design, the elements of design, right? The difference between traditional thinking and design thinking. He gave some wonderful examples, right? This is, in a way, a continuation of that because we are still kind of going to think, design the thinking of people. But that being said, did you all notice what's there on your screen right now? This picture, this very, very powerful and evocative picture, I should say. Can anybody tell me why we have this picture? A wild guess. I know you probably wouldn't understand why, but any wild thoughts? Let me see if I can see chat. Anybody? Wonderful. Yes, Dr. Sarita. Birds are flying in a pattern. Absolutely. But did you notice that they are all very different species of birds? They aren't all eagles. They aren't all doves. They aren't all water birds. They're different types of birds, right? And they are flying in a pattern. Yes, above the clouds, following a particular pattern. Different types of birds. Absolutely. Now, if you notice in nature, right? If you notice how territorial animals are, animals of a particular species tend to be together. A very common example in Indian neighborhoods, right? Street dogs. We have a lot of street dogs across cities, in villages, right? Dogs of one particular locality will not allow a dog from another locality. Right? Why dogs come to human beings, right? We are so exclusive. It's only us, our people, our way of thinking, our culture, right? But birds tend to look at the picture totally differently. If you look at a tree, if you look at, imagine a huge banyan tree, okay? You'll see different types of birds. You'll see parakeets on one, you'll see probably doves on another branch, you'll see mynas there, you'll see crows in between, you'll see spine-tailed drift, you'll see sparrows, you'll see so many different types of birds all in the same ecosystem of that one single tree. How is that possible? Or why are birds so different? Are they so accommodative in nature? It comes from the very simple concept that birds tend to look at the picture around them on the landscape slightly differently from us. We look at things from two dimensions, right? The birds have an extra dimension in their perspective. And hence, when they have an extra dimension, they have more space. And when there's more space, there's more opportunity to encompass everything in your embrace. So when Anbu would have spoken to you about our signature flagship, the Unmuk program, one of the first things we say is to be like birds, to open up the little vision that we have and to think encompassingly. And this is very, very important for a design thinker. Because for a design thinker, there is nothing that is a no-no. No judgments, no bias, nothing. It's all about being inclusive. It's all about taking everything into your consideration, right? Either while approaching a problem or while creating an innovative solution, right? So with this thought in mind, let us go into our very first slide, actually our very first activity. If you remember, I said we need to have some interaction here. Ramnath, my colleague, would have requested you all, and Dr. Manoj, would have requested you all to do some, a personal visualization exercise. Some of you have done it, and I went through your responses. I would like to share some of them here quickly because we do not have time to discuss everything. But as I share the slides, right, I would like the person who did that to please come on to unmute him or herself, if possible, come before the camera and share what that visualization is. Right? Going to the first one, Abhijit Dandavati. Would it be possible for Abhijit to unmute himself?
Okay, I will just check it, sir. I will just check it whether he is here with us or not.
Okay.
Have Abhijit with us? Yeah, I think he is here. Sir, you can please unmute yourself. Okay, I will do that. Okay, now you can go ahead.
Yes, Abhijit. Wonderful visualization here. Very neatly drawn. Almost seen last time it was printed. Beautiful lines, beautiful curvatures, nice shading, right? Very evocative picture. It looks exactly like a poster. So what is your thought behind this?
So basically, I want to see myself as a director. I want to make movies which will, can help society to learn out of something. It is not about only message to the society, but at the same time, I will also see through movies like Three Idiots, Zindagi Na Mile Dobara. I'm inspired by this kind of movies, through which one can depict the lacuna in this our living pattern, lifestyle, and one of the systems like if you see, I will mention something like for teacher, for teacher.
Yes.
So the teacher's job is no more lucrative nowadays. As per I've seen as many teachers, there are a lot of challenges, not only academics but beyond that. So I want to portray these issues, and I want to educate even teacher and teaching fraternity as well as people from different fraternity to learn this profession and contribution to the society. and also they should be able to accommodate society into this. Hello.
Oops, sorry. Yes, I guess somebody else was speaking.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please continue.
So I want to make like OTT, media kind of OTT to educate society, teaching fraternity, everybody through this platform. And I want to be one of the best directors after a couple of years down the line, 5 years, and I'll see that I emerge as one of the best directors who can bring some change in the society and the thought process of some of the professions like teaching.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But I also see you kind of localized yourself. The very top banner, Mumbai.
Because right now I'm staying in Pune, I want to shift to Mumbai.
Okay, nice, interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Because I want to get associated with Bollywood, so I
Okay.
must need to shift to Pune, Mumbai.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you're taking concrete steps towards that direction. Very nice, very nice. Let's move on to one more person. This is Dr. Sunita Sampati. Do we have Dr. Sunita here?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sunita.
Yes.
Yes, can you please explain your visualization here? It's very colorful.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My main dream is first, though I have completed my PhD in 2010, I want to pursue my PhD postdoc in abroad as a Fulbright fellowship. That is my first goal, and then become as a professor. And the other intention of mine is that I have come up with some nutraceuticals, so which I want to bring to the market. That's the reason I kept this particular capsules, where I want to bring a nutraceutical product to the market, because this is the product which we have developed for osteoporosis. So that I want to bring it into the market. That is the second thing. And the other thing is that, yes, I'm very much fascinated to go on a cruise. That's the reason I kept a ship here, because this is my dream. So I want to travel in the cruise, and because when I was a young kid, like I used to dream of 3 stars which were in parallel, saying that it is similar to the Egypt where the pyramids have been built. So my intention is that. So that's the reason. Other thing is, yes, I'm meditating. I started meditation since few months ago. I want to continue that. That's the reason I want to be in complete meditation as a part of life. So, and I want to see my son as an engineer, because now he's preparing for the mains, and my daughter is in 10th, and her goal as well as my goal is that she need to take up the medicine as a profession. That's the reason I just kept this particular thing. And be a happy family, because end of the day we all do to have a good family. So a happy family. So these are all these things. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Comprehensive. That's what I would like to say. Very comprehensive. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Let's go on to one more person. Manikandan Shanmugam. Manikandan sir, are you here after lunch?
Sir, I will just check into the participant list.
Okay.
Whether he is here. Let me do that. No, sir, we could not find him. Yes. You can go to the next. I think Ramnath is saying yes, he is here. Oh, okay, okay.
I'm here, sir.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
Sir, at present, I'm
Yes,
working
sir.
as a professor in biomedical engineering.
Okay. Yes.
Head of the institution, head of the organization, and best motivator award from the organization. Motivate the teachers is my aim. Then my wife is already working as a school, and it is my native town is Mudukumidanpatti. There she is become as a headmaster. This is the vision I also have. Son is studying 10th standard now. He is very much interested in cricket, and he has also in left arm off spinner. he's a country to success. So I put it left arm spinner. And my second son is doing 5th standard now, and maybe he got a state level rank in his studies in future. That also draw here. And one more thing is interested for agriculture and nature also. 100% utilization and management of resources in agriculture, farming. So this is also do something, and also deforestation is happening everywhere for the living of human being alone. But together with the plants, birds, animals. So I draw a picture of a forest. And thing is, our ancient days we used for wood for cooking, and the waste of the wood fertilizer for the land. Also it is used for the toothbrush powder. It is used. So for everything is 100% utilization with less wastage. Wastage is 0.
True.
And we want to avoid the pollute of our country and also the earth.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very lucidly explained. Very colorful, very natural. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Just one more person, if you have the time. I think you have the time, yes. Mayur Marathe, if I pronounce it correctly. Do we have Mayur with us?
Yes, I'm Mayur Marathe over here.
Hi, Mayur. Hello. Very
Yes, sir.
intriguing picture, I must tell you. Very intriguing. What is this visualization?
I'm doing PhD from Mukesh Patel College, Mumbai, in Mumbai. I'm in second semester right now. I don't have much. I didn't imagine, just like the previous candidate, what they had imagined about comparing their life with the present and the past. I just want to focus in my future, so that I have to be more focused in my future. Right now I'm having a number of paths in front of myself, but as soon as I finished my PhD in my zone, I shall be able to focus in only one path that will be good for my betterment of the life as well as for the society. As if I'm successful in that path, then hopefully I will give some input to for the society also. So my main aim or main agenda from this image, I will only say that I just want to focus on a one particular path if I'm having a number of paths in front of me. So selecting a correct path for not only for myself, or also for a society is a thing I want to express from this image.
Wonderful, Mayur. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
intriguing image. So when I went through the many submissions that we had, this stood out differently. So I actually wanted to know what you wanted to say through this. So thank you very much. Very nice. Very nice. If you consider, if all of you would have heard what our colleagues, our friends just said, there were three very impactful points that I could gather. There were many points, but three very, very impactful points which kind of kept recurring in what everybody said. One was the connecting to the higher purpose. Whatever, whether it was Manigandan, whether it was Sunita ma'am, whoever it was like there was a higher purpose to their vision. It wasn't just purely about themselves. It wasn't about me, myself, right? It was what more can I do for the society? There was a sense of a higher purpose. The second was they were all very specific. Mayur here, this picture is very specific, right? There was no ambiguity here. They're very clear on what they wanted, and this is critical to visualization. As design thinkers, when you visualize the end state, right, you must be crystal clear in what you want. There should be absolutely no ambiguity, right? The question of interpretation, just like how it is in legal matters, right, always often creates issues, right? And that's not a solution by itself. So being specific, being very clear is extremely important visualization, and that's what you have done.
Hello.
The third point, which I noticed, was you're all very comprehensive, right? Like Dr. When Sri Manikandan said, he spoke about himself, about his wife, about his children, about agriculture, about society at large, about going green. Same thing with Dr. Sunita, right? Same thing with the gentleman at the beginning, Abhijit, right? When he wanted to become a director, right? So it was all about being comprehensive. It wasn't just specific. There was a very large picture involved. And you can kind of relate it to the picture of the birds that I told you at the outset, right? They don't think in a very limited fashion. Their vision is expansive. It's all around, right? But now comes the question. Now that you have shared your visualization, do you see any impediments in achieving this? Do you see any problems in reaching your end state? Right? What are your fears? What are your inhibitions in doing this? Right? Now, instead of me telling you this as gyan, right, from typical teaching mode, why don't we do a small activity again? Okay, I want you to take a small test. There is a link on the screen. If Dr. Manoj sir could probably paste this in the chat as well, right? It's a small assessment. Basically you kind of get a feeling of where you stand, right?
So actually, I could not be able to copy it. So if you can copy it from your PPT, because
Can
I
I
could not
paste
see
it in
the thing.
chat? Can I
Yeah,
paste
yeah,
it in
you
chat?
can. Yeah, you can paste.
Okay, here it goes.
Yes.
Yes, I hope you all can get the page. Just let me know if you have any technical problems. This small test will not take you more than 5 minutes. Actually, I'm giving extra 5 minutes just in case. Are they able to access the page?
Sir, the page is not exist.
Does not exist. Oh, okay.
That problem.
I might have probably created a typo while we try to click on this link. Sorry, it's HTTP, not double P. What happens is when you tend to type, you create typos. It is an external site, yes. See if you can do that. Now, the purpose why I would like you all to try this, and if there are any volunteers who would like to share, is because basically this will take you to certain aspects in the way you cooperate with the surroundings around you, and tell you what are all the dragging factors that do not tend to help you in realizing your visualization or in achieving it. No, it's not just thinking.com. After that, you have to add /EQ. Okay, I'll probably give you just 2 more minutes for all of you to let me know if you can get the page. Dr. Manoj, when you try, are you able to access the page?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, I am also
Wonderful.
doing it.
Wonderful, sir. So I am shutting my chat window so you can see the screen better.
Sir, the page is open, sir. It is telling what is EQ, how does this EQ test work, how does your
Yes.
result mean. We need to start that, sir.
Yes, just click next. It's basically, it is not an end-all test. It just gives you indicators, areas where you could probably improve. But what is important in this small test is that it tells you the areas where you need to pay attention. As potential design thinkers, these are areas that you need to be wary of. And I'll explain that in greater detail as we go. If anybody has completed, please let me know in the chat window if you are done, so that we can have a discussion. So what do we have to do? Somebody raise this on the chat. Just answer the question. It's very simple. And you'll almost instantaneously get a result in your email. So are you all done?
We are just doing it, sir. Just wait for a minute.
Okay. The results you get are also for your self-reflection. There is no 100% right, no 100% wrong here. By getting a seemingly negative result, it does not mean you're down the doldrums, not at all. It just means that probably there are certain areas where you have to, focus a little more. Right? Again, as we go further down this session, you know why I'm saying this. Because in design thinking, there is never a binomial. There's never a 0 or a 1, a yes or no. Right? There's a lot of gray area in between.
Oh, sir, yeah. I have done it, sir. I'm through. I'm through, but I could not answer because you have to make me understand.
Yes, okay. So the answer, as I said, is purely for self-reflection, right?
Yeah,
And
actually, what do you mean by this minus and plus?
Yes, I'll tell you that. Probably I'll need a few volunteers. Maybe Dr. Manoj, if you could volunteer and share your screen yourself, I can. So then again, there is nothing very absolutely wrong or right in this. And the reason why I would like you all to kind of get better understanding or exposure to this is these are very, very important when you are talking of design the thinking.
Okay. So if you wish, I can share my screen, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, let's do it. So should I stop sharing?
No, sir, I will change it. I will make it presentable.
Okay.
Okay. Let me share my screen. You can understand this.
It is coming up. It says you are starting to share content. Yes, it has come. Wonderful. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you very much. What we are seeing here, friends, basically certain aspects of your personality, certain what shall I say, certain inhibiting factors. Now these aren't totally wrong, but these are things that you need to be careful of, right? If you look at the interpretation here, when it comes to anger, yes, Manoj sir seems to be having a decent control of that particular emotion. When it comes to fear, he has a stronger control of that emotion, and ego, the same. However, when it comes to the question of doubt and conflict, there are certain areas that he needs to probably look into to a greater degree so that the restricting factor of doubt and conflict, and I shall explain what conflict is later on again, it can be better controlled, right? Now, this is very important. Why? Because these are probably your most critical impediments when it comes to realizing your end state. When you have a target in mind, in 5 years, hence, this is what I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to achieve, this is where I'm going to take my family, right? You are the person who has to overcome these difficulties. As we say, right, The way your mind is reflects the world around you, right? So if you're able to overcome these challenges in a better way, then it's easier for you to achieve your end state or your end visualization. So that was the reason for this short exercise. We'll be looking into this in greater detail as we go on. So thank you, Manoj sir. Thank you very much.
Oh,
I shall
thank you.
continue sharing my screen.
Okay, I will just stop the sharing.
Thank you. And while this was just a brief introduction to this particular tool, the purpose also is that it will make you self-reflect on what you have just got on your respective screens after this session. I should go back to my screen again. Right. Okay. So to be a design thinker, right, one of the most important things is that you need to use the most important tool. In the next 4 days, you'll be learning a lot of tools. You know, brainstorming, as somebody suggested, they want to learn mind mapping. There are so many tools out there when it comes to design thinking. But the most important tool is your mind. And we all tend to forget. That is why in the design thinking process, especially as we say, the first most critical step is in design and thinking. First, condition yourself to be a design thinker and then let us think design. Right? So that being said, when you talk of certain places like Silicon Valley, right? So you get all these wonderful logos. You have Facebook, Google, Amazon. When you talk of innovation, you have people like Satya Nadella, Vivek Shankaran, Sanjay Mehrotra, Shantanu Narayan. So many people who come to your mind. But like Dr. Sarangi said today, this morning, Professor Sarangi, over the past 4 years, when you consider the collaboration between institutions and faculty, what is the value of the innovation that we have done? What stops us from reaching or attaining that? We spoke about research being for 5 years, 10 years long. If you look at the field of defense, I mean, the place where I studied and kind of specialized in, you have projects like LCA, you have projects like Arjun MBT. There are so many projects that have been there for 20 plus years, right? Now the question comes, can you be really that affordable in terms of both time and money as a resource? What stops us from being innovative? What stops us from achieving what we want to achieve, right? The problem is it's all in our mind. And when we talk of the mind, there are 13 very important factors that we need to look into or condition, right? And this, in the School of Design Thinking, we call it the 13 musical notes. Why do we call this the 13 musical notes, and what does music have to do with design thinking? Because if applied in the right way to the right amount, right, more like an equilibrium or the equalizer in an amplifier, you get a beautiful harmony out of this, right? And you become a wonderful design thinker. Now let us look at what these 13 musical notes are. Right? We'll divide this into a set of 5 plus 5 plus 3. The first 5 is what we call the 5 forces of growth, or sepia. Okay, these are the 5 forces of growth that propel design thinking, that help. And to give this kind of an academic flavor, I shall try to give you appropriate examples. Let us look at the first example. Right? What does sepia stand for? It's an acronym, obviously. The first stands for skill. Right? Look at the car mechanic. He's got a certain skill that helps him or her repair automobiles. Look at a diamond polisher. They've got a wonderful skill in converting raw diamond into a polished gem. That gets even positioned in the crown of in a queen's crown, right? Can I request Abhijit to please be on mute? Thank you. Thank you. Right. So there is a skill, and what is basically a skill? A skill is something that you get based out of training. Okay, and if you want to kind of give it an academic flavor, skill is nothing but the application of a set pattern of knowledge package. So you have a certain pattern of knowledge in a defined knowledge cluster. Does it sound Greek or Latin? Let me give you a more day-to-day example. Swimming is a skill, right? A swimmer understands various styles of swimming: freestyle, butterfly stroke, backstroke, so on and so forth. Look at a sport like, say, tennis. That's a skill. Playing good tennis is a skill, right? So skill is nothing but the application of knowledge packets in a certain knowledge cluster. Let us apply this in an academic context. Okay. You train students. At the end of the day, students are the people who consume the knowledge that you're imparting. What did I get? When they graduate from the academic institute and join the portals of an organization to work, they come up with skills. They know how to code. They know the basics of testing. They know the theories of project management. They know how to study a balance sheet. Right? These are all skills that they get. Right? But what happens over a consistent period of time? As you keep applying this skill set, right? You get mastery at a subconscious level. Look at a doctor, a young graduate, a young student who just cleared his MBBS exam, right? He's just a bachelor in medicine and a bachelor in surgery, right? That's what MBBS is. But then when he consistently keeps doing surgeries, when he upgrades to an MD, right? All this goes into making that skill, takes it at a higher level, right? From the surgery table, let's go on to a football field. You have a player or cricket, whichever sport that you like, right? A player keeps playing consistently, he keeps getting trained. And what happens is handling the ball becomes muscle memory. He knows how to collect a ball, he knows how to pass a ball, he knows how to kick a shot, he knows how to defend, he knows how to tackle. Everything becomes muscle memory, right? And what happens once this keeps being done sustained in a sustained manner? He or she gets the second item of SEPIA, which is expertise. So what happened? What is expertise? Expertise is nothing but the depth in a knowledge cluster. So you have a set of a knowledge packet in a particular knowledge cluster. You keep doing it in a repeated way. You become a master in it. You become an expert. So you start, for example, learning the violin, right? As a student, you keep practicing. And over a period of time, you become an expert in violin. People know you as a maestro, right? So you know the instrument completely by heart. You can play with it with your eyes closed. This is what expertise is. But then it doesn't stop there. As an expert, you also start getting certain things. What you get over being an expert over a repeated period of time is you get a perspective, right? You are looking at a certain area of application. For example, you're all academicians, you're all teachers and lecturers and professors, right? As you keep applying what you have learned and what you practice day to day, you tend to get perspective. You look at things from a different perspective. You look at it from a higher perspective. You get the bigger picture of things, right? And that's the third item. The third item is perspective. And what does it do? It helps you to look at things from a very, very high angle. And why is this very important? Why is this particular force of growth of perspective very important? Because that's when you get opportunities to look at new vistas, okay, new areas of application, new ideas that come in. Let us look at this example. The picture on your left is a car, right? What does a car do? A car is an automobile which is driven by a motor, which takes you from a horizontal from point A to point B in a horizontal manner, right? Yes, it takes you above a mountain, it all takes you down a mountain, takes you across valleys and so on. But by and large, it is more or less a horizontal, right? Now, what happens? Imagine you anchor this motor or you leverage this motor to a device that helps you not to horizontally but to go vertically, an elevator. So you have applied your skill and your expertise in designing engines and have looked at it from just making it run horizontally to making it run vertically. And that has opened a whole new vista to you. Architecture, creating high-rise buildings. Imagine how tough it would have been for people in those days, right? Look at towers like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You have the Minar in Delhi. You have so many high-rise buildings. Imagine all the lung power it had to take people to climb all those steps up and down, up and down, probably multiple times a day, right? You have the great pyramids in Egypt. You have the pyramids in Central and South America of the Mayans, of the Incas, of the Aztecs, right? All those steps that they had to climb repeatedly every day, day in and day out throughout the year. Tremendous muscle power, yes. But what about small children? What about the aged? Would they do it? Right? Now here's a device that helps you overcome one particular challenge of the user. They can now leverage this to go up and down. And today you see towers like Burj Khalifa, right? Thanks to this very simple device. Let us look at another example that we are all familiar with again. for many of you, you're aware of this concept called postal catalog, right? In the good old days, especially in countries like the US, what used to do, or what marketing companies used to do, was they used to have postal catalogs. But basically, catalogs are album of products that were for sale. And what did these catalogs have? It had the product, the price, who was the manufacturer, who's going to sell it, and certain other details, right? And then during the late 1980s, 1990s, and after the new millennium came through, we had a totally new enabling technology called internet. And voila, what did one very clever gentleman called Bezos do? He tied in two things. He tied in the postal catalog, he tied in the internet, and he came up with this concept called Amazon. So what is the Amazon today? It is nothing but an enabler that gives you the catalog or the description of various products that you need to have or you like to have, and it enables you to buy it. And they went a little more, enabling payment and delivery and all that, so on and so forth. But essentially, just brought two together, brought in the postal catalog, and it also brought in the internet together. It merged these two. We have a totally new business. And this is exactly what perspective allows you to. And when that comes into play, as the picture that you now probably see on your screen, you had a technology container and you had a business container, right? Your technology and your business domain. And you try to map these two technologies together. And then you get something called a new idea. Right? An idea can be in two ways. It can be an interspace idea or an idea within a particular domain. So you get in better versions of it. For example, your mobile phone. Right? You had earlier mobile phones which just help you do the job. And you had mobile phones that had so many other additional features, right? One of the things in design thinking is the law of less is more, right? Like the example of BlackBerry versus the iPhone. During the late 1990s, early 2000s, when BlackBerry, which was the device that a lot of executives had in their hand, was thinking of how to add that one more key so that sending an email that you compose quickly over your phone can be easily sent. On the other side, you had iPhone, it's Apple, which said, why do people need to have so many buttons? That's what button will do. And a very finite set of applications that he or she would need actually in real life, right? Day-to-day life. So that's a thing, that's again an idea. So less is more, see what people want. But basically, the idea that you get all stems from perspective. So the higher you are, the more you tend to observe, the more ideas you get. And as I said, there are two. So you have your intraspace idea as well as your interspace idea, which connects you. So again, if you connect back to what Rocky was talking about this morning, in D1, the first design approach, or the first design approach, which had business, the human interest, the business, and the technology. This gives you a perfect idea of how to bring all the three, right? Which is the fourth idea. And the last one, which is very, very critical to innovation, is perfect alignment. And alignment comes only when multiple knowledge clusters converge about it. It's basically when you look at things from a totally different angle, and that is absolute alignment. For your student who graduates from your institution, he or she, as I said, starts with a skill, gets expertise over a couple of years of work, right? Gets perspective, understands new and newer ideas, and there's perfect alignment with a higher purpose. When some of you shared your visualization, your higher purpose is what struck me as the first key ingredient that was there on your screen, on the chart that you had shared, right? Alignment to a higher purpose. You had brilliant ideas. And where do you get these ideas from? If you could just reflect within yourselves, all these ideas are basically stemming up from this process that all have subconsciously developed for a period of time. And so, the 5 forces of growth, as we typically call in design thinking, disappear. So just to quickly go through what they are, start with a skill, you get expertise over that skill. It leads to a perspective from which you generate a lot of ideas, and that ideas helps you to connect with the higher purpose or absolute alignment. Right? Now that's set 1. Let us look at another set of 5 drivers. Okay. Now these are not actually drivers, these are what we tend to call 5 frictional forces. So are these, if you notice, are those 5 elements that were there in your assessment. DCAF, right? So what does DCAF stands for? Doubt, conflict, anger, fear, and evil. Now, that being said, are these really bad? Is somebody supposed to be absolutely without any doubt? Is conflict bad? Is a person allowed to be angry? Fear. Is a fear a good thing? And finally, ego. How much ego is a person actually allowed to have? Is being egoistic good or bad? Right? With design thinking, we believe that all this is required to an extent. Right? It's like the friction or the purchase that your tire has on the road. Imagine driving a car on a highway, right? If there is absolutely no friction between the tire and the road and the asphalt, can you probably drive at 100 kilometers per hour? I'm sure you wouldn't be able to control your car at 10 or even 20 kilometers per hour. Right? So you need that much amount of friction. But what happens when you apply excessive friction? Right? In other words, apply a brake. Your car stops. So in a way, the amount of innovation that you're trying to do, the problems that you're trying to solve, the solutions that you're trying to create, whether it's a product or a service, it kind of hits a wall, right? So there's so much amount of effort that is put. Let us look at this with a little more clarity. First, tend to ask yourself these questions, very, very basic questions, but give it some thought. When was it the last time that you actually raised your hand for a clarification? Probably not in a context like this, in a context wherein you had a lot of seniors, right? People who are outranking you, people from the organization who are your seniors. When did you come up in the open and ask them? What prevents you from raising your hand? Now, I am not sure how many people are there in this session now, but let me assume that there are about 100 plus people. Okay? Out of these 100 plus people, how many are there with their cameras on? How many of them are there with their mics unmuted? How many of them are willing or reaching to ask a question? Right? Probably a small fraction. What stops the others from doing that? Right? And again, another question. How many times have you felt that you knew something was right, but you did not take that decision? What stopped you from taking a right decision, or at least voicing out the decision that you wanted to take? Right? This comes from the basic fundamental issue of doubt. Why does this doubt come? Because you're just not clear of the concept, probably. You're completely uncertain of your surroundings. You're uncertain of what things are happening. You're indecisive. You're not sure whether a certain thing needs to be done or not done. You're like a cat on a wall thinking. So what is the way to do this? First, you need to start trusting yourself, right? Doubt basically comes to an extent a little from lower self-worth. Do not doubt. Especially do not doubt your capabilities, right? And so how do you overcome such a doubt? If you have a doubt, right? What is one clean way of overcoming this? The best way is to get approval. Understand whether you are on the right track. Understand whether it is the correct path that you're taking. Many times, many of you have actually kind of voiced it out this morning. Your students often tend to be silent. They switch off their cameras, they switch off their mic, and they do not pay attention in class. When you keep repeatedly asking them questions, they do not interact. Me, I see this in my own home, right? My brother-in-law is a lecturer, and when he keeps asking questions to his students, often it's plain silence. People do not answer. What could the reason be? Are the students afraid to reveal their lack of knowledge, that they have some fundamental doubts, that they might end up being the laughing stock in the class? Right? It's absolutely okay. It is perfectly okay. Here I am in the midst of such illustrious academicians like yourself, people with many, many more years of experience than I have, right? But here I do have a lot of doubts, but then at some point you need to take approval, which will help you overcome this doubt, and that's exactly what I'm asking of you.
Sir, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Suleika.
I feel people always feel that other people might judge them.
Okay.
So that judgment thing always prevents them from speaking. And I have witnessed in many other conferences also, even if they are international conferences, when they come out and when it's time to network with other people, that time they say this to other friends or their close ones, And I felt like asking this question, but I just didn't.
Okay.
So, even in the huge conferences where there are very highly experienced people also, they also feel this roadblock that they don't ask question at that particular point in time, and I feel uh, some idea remains from coming to the table.
Wonderful. But have you, in retrospect, thought about why you didn't ask these questions? Judgment is one thing, but judgment
Hmm.
is a reflection of what other people think of you, right?
Yes.
So, what is the root of that fear, of the fear of being judged by others? Is it from
That
any
that
of these
that
points mentioned?
fear, I think, it really lies in our conditioning, autobiographical responses. That whenever parents, when they used to speak, they say, "Do you know? Think about what these people will be thinking. Do you know what your teacher must be thinking? Do you know what your neighbor must be thinking?" We may not, we may not even think about all these things, but subconsciously they are there in our mind, and they all of these things together prevent us from asking.
Very
Sometimes I
true.
have even seen that people don't even ask for help to their neighbor also. They feel hesitant even in asking for a simple help.
Very true. Very true.
And it has got nothing to do with the age, but conditioning is there. And trust me, even I had this problem that I would not ask questions, but then I consciously worked on it, that
What did you do?
I don't care about what other people think about me. I had to say this to myself multiple times. I don't care about what other people think about me. I will ask this. I will still do it. I will still post this even if other people don't like it. So like that, I had to overcome certain obstacles. So
Wonderful.
I feel
Wonderful.
it is true with everyone.
Wonderful. The point that you just made is fear. The fear of being judged by others, right? The fear of acceptance. How would people look at you? Would people accept you for the person you are just because you probably asked a very fundamental, basic question, right? And what you did to overcome that, Suleka ma'am, is that you overcame fear with courage. You inculcated this nature of courage in you. And that is one of the key points which was mentioned in the small assessment that you did, and which will also be one of the points we'll be talking going forward. So what you did is absolutely true. But then the concept of doubt, it comes basically from these 3 points that one, we ourselves are not clear. So there's a big question of self-doubt, right? The second is uncertainty. Again, totally new environment, totally new people, a huge gathering. How will we be looked upon? Like you just shared your perspective here and you got 3 to 4 thumbs up, right? People observe you, people appreciate. There may be certain people who do not appreciate. They may think, oh, it is very, very, very simple.
Thank you, sir.
But thank you very much because you did a wonderful job. You shared your opinion in a way, thus educated others.
Yeah,
So
I think,
this,
Rama, if you wish, if we can have some interaction on this count.
absolutely,
Because
yes.
actually, I am going through this slide, I think, 2, 3 times, being a part of various similar workshops. I don't find this doubt and fear coming in isolation. They are complementing, or they are totally interrelated. So, will they still call it as a part of the DK? Because they are not independent.
Absolutely. You're right. None of
So,
these are standalone. If you notice very clearly, each are connected with others, just like sepia. Just like
okay.
sepia, where skill leads to expertise, to perspectives, to ideas and alignment, ECAF is also connected. And that is why they're
The,
grouped together.
so, I think the moment we work on our doubt, then we will not have any fear. That we can say in a very general manner. Then we will
True.
not have a fear of facing the failure. That is the biggest thing.
True.
Actually, what means fear is not for failure. Fear is for facing the failure. You
Exactly, sir.
ultimately have a
Exactly.
failure. You don't. Whether you accept it or not, you may have a failure one or other time in your life. But the fear is to face that failure. The moment we are in a
Truly, Dr. Manoj, you said the very right thing. Appreciate it.
yes, thank you, thank you. And if somebody else wants to come on this particular way, because this is the point we should interact. If anyone else wants to come in, you can come in now. Rama is here. We'll take some extra time.
Yes.
You don't mind? If somebody
Yes,
wants to
yes.
come in, yes, sir.
Yes, yes. And the other reason why myself sometimes, maybe in an open forum or in a virtual meeting or meeting with the higher authorities and all these things. So it is being impressed, or the people are under impression, or they create even impression to other faculty also, like whoever asks any question, they may be targeted or they may be surprised. Okay, so this also being inculcated in the mind of the faculty, newly joined faculty with the seniors or whatsoever, and making us also not to ask questions, be silent in the platforms, open platforms. So this is also one of the reasons, sir. I can say maybe the faculty or whoever is not opening up, though they have the doubts, they want to ask many questions. Okay, but the thing is, maybe the one who is sitting on the other side, they take in a different way, or we are being judged in a different way, because it is inculcated in the mind that the more we ask, the more we ask the question, the more we are focused and the more we are suppressed by the higher authority.
Okay, yes. Right, right.
Morning, sir.
But as design thinkers, sorry, yes.
Morning, the speaker told that every teachers are feel about their duty, their duty about the online class handling, right? But we are the role model. We are the role model for the students, right?
Absolutely.
So what we do, they is following the action, not our words. Only they follow our action only, right? In this case,
Very good.
suppose you are design thinking for doing some task that
Correct.
is visualized by our student and it is also followed by them. We don't raise any question for anything's happening negative side. That is also inculcated to the student. So it is a role, right? We can raise our doubts whenever we have unclarity.
Absolutely, sir. You're spot on. Very true. Very true. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Right. So, as we said, let's go on to the next one, because these are not in isolation. These are not individual siloed pillars, but they're all kind of connected. The next one is slightly on a different scale, but very, very important as well to be, to be attentive of. Ask yourself these questions. Is conflict bad? We are brought up in a thinking that conflict is bad. There should be absolutely no conflict. But ask yourself truly, is conflict really bad? Did you have any conflicts in the last 1 week? Whether with your colleagues, with your students, with the management of your institution, within your family, with your children, with your spouse, with your neighbors, anybody? Or did you even have conflict within yourself? Right? Have you said to your child, don't have any conflicts? Have you told your little one, him or her, that having conflict is bad, always be goody goody, always be friendly, always be very obliging, very smiling? Conflict is antisocial, it's being bad within the society. Just ask yourself these questions. And then very importantly, ask yourself this question: what is conflict? And why does it come? Right? A small picture here, a small story, an anecdote to kind of put this matter better into perspective. So there was this young mother who was arranging for a party at home, and she had stitched a beautiful light green skirt. It kind of looks like light green on my screen for her child, and she wanted to kind of show off her child wearing this beautiful light green skirt. But this young lady, that is her daughter, had a mind of her own. So she said, no, why should I wear that light green skirt? I don't like light green. I like pink. And I'm going to wear that new pink dress that my dad bought for me. And so there was this conflict. But anyway, the mother assumed that the child will listen. Before the appointed hour, when guests are coming in, the child goes to her room, changes herself, and she walks down the staircase. And the mother is there with all the guests, family, and friends. And when she looks up at her daughter, the child is wearing the pink skirt, and not the green one that the mother so painstakingly stitched for. Now there is a conflict. The mother is not happy. The child is not happy either. It spoils the mood between both of them, right? Now, why does this arise in the first place? Why does a person get into a conflict with somebody else? The reasons is first being difference of opinion, right? There are two heads. There is a wonderful Sanskrit sloka which says Munde Munde Matirbinna. Basically, it's the more minds you have, the more ideas you have, right? The more perspectives you have. So conflict always arises when there are difference of opinion. You have an opinion, the person on the other side has a different opinion. Difference in perspective. Your perspective is built on your skill, your expertise, your experience, right? The person on the other side has a different perspective because of different skill, expertise, experiences in life. And finally, different expectations. The outcome. You put so much effort in a particular project, right? Take so much, you invested so much money, so much resource, time and energy and so on, right? With an expectation in mind. But your stakeholder, the person who's working along with you for that, has a different expectation. This typically comes since I was working with a marketing team earlier. One of the key areas that a conflict comes is when you work on websites or any project deliverable, right? So you have a fixed date on which a particular website is to be released, and you say, okay, this is how much of it should actually be done. But then you see that your stakeholder says, no, we need not do so much percentage of the stakeholder. It's enough only if you can, do 1, 2, or 3 segments of the website. And then you get into a conflict. There's a difference of opinion, difference of expectation, and movement, right? We see this almost in everyday life, right? Whether it's a legislature, whether it is different political parties. Okay, let's not bring that here, but a most ubiquitous example to share. You see that at home, right? Mom asks, what do you want for dinner? Dad says, I want this. Son says, I want that. Now, mother is in the room. Whom is she going to satisfy? Her husband or her son, right? You see conflicts everywhere. But how do you overcome a conflict? Any ideas, anybody? How can you overcome a conflict? Roll up your sleeves and get into a fist fight?
First, what is the outcome? First, we can decide.
Okay. Okay.
Depends upon that, we can do for the next move.
Okay.
Possible to compromise. It's possible to compromise, and we can attain this expectation means we can compromise. Otherwise, we can give a right explanation, and the counter person should be accept our decision. Give
Wonderful.
a proper.
Sir, good afternoon. This is Dr. Sheila.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Sir, there's a difference in opinion. Every individual will have a different opinion or estimation towards a certain thing or towards a certain situation. So the idea of resolving the conflict is primarily in how accommodative you are in understanding the other's perspective.
Accommodative. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Yes. So does that mean that you have to accommodate every time? So basically means you're giving up on certain values or certain expectations that you had.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Sarita Kansal. Sir,
Yes,
in my ways, like with a mutual understanding, we can overcome the conflict.
Mutual understanding. All right. Wonderful. Very nice.
Maybe the mutual understanding may be the first step, which will be followed by outer version of or a third vision of the problem as a whole, common to both who are in conflict, will be giving a better solution.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful.
Which will be very difficult to practice, but even though I say it myself.
Yes, sir. Actually, what you said just brought to my mind a very popular proverb. When two fight, the third wins. So when you have a third perspective, it could probably just rake up the conflict furthermore. So just going by some of the comments you have shared, right? So you said different belief systems, agree to disagree, see common grounds, be silent. Wow. Okay, from Bharat. Via dialogue, compromise, consensus through mind mapping, win-win situation creation. Wonderful. Focus on greater outcome. Learn to create a safe conversation. So many inputs. Thank you very much. One thing we believe is dialogue. Dialoguing is very, very important. Tomorrow, in one of the sessions, we'll be looking at the importance of dialogue. And this is very important, not just in overcoming a conflict. While that is one of the stated methods given here, dialoguing is also a wonderful tool that you can leverage to know what is the result, what is the cause of the conflict, what is it that the other person wants, right? There are so many tools again for this to be used. You have concepts like circle time. When was the last time you and your stakeholder, whoever she is, sat down across a table over a cup of coffee and discussed what the problem is, right? You're all very personal here. Okay, just to give a quote from the scriptures, okay? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about a personality called Sthita Prajna, a person who is not affected by positives or negatives, who is stable-minded. But as average common people, is that possible for us? Unless we do a lot of meditation and yoga and a lot of practice, right? It's very, very difficult. We all are biased. We all have our opinions and perspectives. But the greater good is in having a dialogue and never a debate. Because at the end of the day, when we are all together as design thinkers, it is always what is right that is important, not who is important or who's right.
No,
So
I think Dr. Rama, what you said was something which has to be emphasized more on. Nowadays, dialogue and debate, we take it as a synonym, which they are not.
of course,
We believe in debating things, but we are not dialoguing. When we dialogue, then we hear and we all agree to come to a common conclusion. But in debate,
absolutely,
nobody wants. So that is
absolutely.
the reason we should be very clear about what we are trying to say. We need dialogue. We don't need a debate because we already know
Correct, sir.
we are going to dialogue. It means we are going to sit together and hear from each other.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. You're right. Only through
Good
dialogue.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, this is Kamlesh from GHRC, Pune.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So basically, what I have found in this particular situation is that whenever there are conflicts at that time, our mind focuses on understanding the feelings and emotions. So basically, that is done by the prefrontal part of our brain. So in that particular span, what we do is we focus on feelings and emotions, and because of that, what happens? It directly comes to the anger, and because of the conflict occurs. That is what I can simply picturize. Another thing that we can simply say in this particular situation is that
Kamlesh, I'm sorry. Your voice is breaking, Kamlesh.
particular thing, then definitely we must have this conflict time. Our mind focuses most of the
Okay.
time on feelings and emotions.
Ah,
Because
right.
anger, sadness, whatever these things are there that are related to the conflict, they come because of feelings and the anger. But if we take a pause and if we think in reality, what will happen because of that? We will simply rule out those things related to feelings and emotions. By staying in the reality, we can come up with a better solution for both of the person, and it can be a win-win situation for both of them.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you, Kamlesh. But this makes me want to ask you one question. Is being angry about a particular issue good or bad? Why does a person get angry, especially when it comes to work? It's because you feel for it, right? You are committed to it emotionally. So,
Yes.
so is feeling angry for a particular situation a bad thing? I'm just leaving it
No,
as a thought. I mean, I don't want your immediate response. A question to all of you. So, is anger
yes.
really bad?
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's a dilemma to me that I'm not in a position to answer you that being angry at someone is really a good thing or bad thing. But again, it depends on the situation that we need to understand the mistake of others so that we can also calm down our anger, and then also we can develop a win-win situation for both of the cases. So
Thank you, sir.
somewhat I have
Thank you.
tried my best.
Thank you, Kamesh. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sir, I have something
Right.
to add to it. So until the anger is in a worthy way, where we can give some outcome to it, as long as it's healthy for the whole team, then I don't think anger is a bad thing. So there should be some productivity, not and our anger should not reflect on the team in a negative way. Until then, the anger is good, sir, because we are supporting the team and the office as well as the organization.
Wonderful. Righteous indignation, as they say, no? Right. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
And if
Thank
it's
you.
not possible, I would say that the fight or flight mode, because we are fighting for our organization and if that's not happen, avoid the situation and go away from there.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yes. Right.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, everywhere in professional life, IQ is always, it's counted, IQ. But EQ is never measured. So EQ in professional life is good or bad, and whether the industries, whether it's educational or any company, they should measure EQ, yes or no? That is my question.
From my experience and from what I get to learn, EQ is definitely important. It's probably equal, if not more important than IQ. End of the day, it's all about attitude, right? Person's IQ is, yes, can be readdressed to an extent, but EQ is something very, very dangerous, and it has to be definitely be considered. So that's my personal opinion. Thank you. Thanks for this question.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So moving on to anger, right? Do you think anger is a symbol of power? If you actually look at it, anger is a symbol of helplessness, right? People tend to get angry because you're helpless, or you tend to get angry because you're helpless. You cannot control the situation. Elizabeth Kenny, whom I'm quoting here, says, "He who angers you conquers you." Anger stems from helplessness, out of lack of control, and that's why people get angry. Imagine a scenario of an accident, right? You are going on a particular lane, somebody comes and hits you, right? And or just knocks off your bumper. You get immediately angry. Why is that? Because you are put in a situation where you weren't under control and something happened, and that frustrates you, that angers you, right? And this is something that we kind of discussed actually for quite a while now. And the only way you can overcome anger is by through acceptance, right? That there are certain parts in life, there are certain situations where you cannot totally be in control, and the only way to do that is to accept the situation as it is, right? Okay, it happened. What can you do further? It is something not very easy to practice. I totally understand, especially when you're committed tech team in a particular project or work. But then there's no other way out of it. The end of anger, if you want to fight it out, is like as that old adage goes, no, an eye for an eye, right? Ends up in making the whole world better. So the question is, accept the situation, see what best can be done. And we are not talking of actual territorial conflicts like what happens between nations, but anger and small conflicts that happen within the team, within organizations, because of various ideas and lack of this concept of helplessness that comes in. Let's kind of put it in a very interesting way and a kind of a symbolic way of what typically tends to happen in a person when he becomes angry. Okay, this is a bit of an animation, so I would like you all to kind of view the screen. Imagine this is you, a receptacle, and there is a threshold that you all have, till which time you are perfectly under control. Okay, you start off with a particular task or start off your day, an incident one happens. Probably the handle out of your your door kind of came off. When you're angry, now you have to go behind a carpenter or somebody to kind of fix that. It frustrates you, makes you angry. Something you couldn't have helped, but yeah, it happened. Another incident happens, which again brings up the anger in you, slowly starts growing inside you. Another incident happens, probably on the way to our office. As I said, somebody would have probably hit you from behind, a dent in the car, or you have slowly crossed the stop line and stopped, and the policeman and the constables taking care of the traffic would have scolded you. You get angry. You go further, something else further happens. Okay, you're nearing the threshold, you're boiling up, you're frustrated, you're irritated. Incident 5 happens. Incident 6 happens, and you are at the threshold. It's that proverbial hay on the camel's back, hay that broke the camel's back. You're almost at that stage. And then finally you step into office and somebody says, "Hey, sir or madam, the presentation you did the other day, it was wonderful. I would like to have a copy of that presentation. Can you please give it to me? It was brilliant. There are certain points in that which, didn't strike me and I can be useful for my research." Oh, good. Okay. No problem. That was nice. Something else happens. Your superior comes and meets you, or a colleague comes and meets you, and gives you a compliment. It can be as simple as saying, "Hey, you look very wonderful today. You have a nice dress, or nice shirt, nice sari. Looks good." Or guess what? You have been repeated to look after this particular project because your boss saw this particular value in you, so you'd like you to be part of the team. Oh, that's a compliment in a way. You're being appreciated. Great. But then, oops, again something else happens. Spoiled. You spilled coffee on your laptop. Now you have to take your laptop to the IT department. Gone. And the IT person is not there. Now you're really worried because you have a presentation and you're really frustrated. Boom. You blow up at the end of the day. So there's only so much a person can do, right? Afterwards, he or she tends to explode and things go out of hand. So that was a simple take on anger, but this is typically what tends to happen to us. Anger is something that keeps being built up based on various experiences that you get kept building again over and over and over and over till it reaches a threshold and it explodes. Let's look at the next frictional force. How many times did you have a new thought or a solution? Right? A new idea that came to you. How many times did you not express it? And why? What were your fears? What made you stop? We kind of discussed this when we were talking about doubt as well. Right? Fears basically come from multiple reasons. One, the fear of going wrong. I'm doing this for the first time. Would I be wrong in doing this? I'm taking this particular session for the very first time to such an august audience before me. Will I make a mistake here? Am I wrong? Am I giving the right explanation as I have learned? Or is it the fear of failure? Will I stammer? Will I say the wrong things? Will I anger somebody? Will I probably be misconstrued by somebody here because I'm probably not saying the politically right things? Or this particular research program that I'm taking up, is it doomed to meet failure? Of commitment. Okay, I have a 5-year grant, but can I commit myself to take up this project for 5 long years? What if I get another opportunity? What if I had to move? People are even afraid of marriage nowadays. Can they commit to a lifetime of commitment to a particular spouse for the rest of their lives? Commitment phobia, right? Biggest fear of the unknown. What will happen to me? I'm going to a new place, a place that I have no clue of, somewhere in Central Africa because I'm deputed to work there. I have read from media that a lot of conflicts happen there. There are probably terrorist incidents. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a fear of unknown. Right? I don't know the language. I don't know the culture. I'm scared. I'm out of my wits. But the only way you can overcome that, as some of you said at the outset, is to get courage. Second. Yes, sorry. The only way to overcome fear is by gaining courage. It is easily said than done. Again, it's easy to put courage here on a PPT slide and explain it. But then this is something that has to be taken up because more often than not just in life, but whenever you're coming up with working on a solution, right? There are all these problems that will be facing you straight on the face, right? Fear of going wrong, failure, commitment, and absolutely unknown. The outcome of the project, you have no clue what's going to happen. The only way to overcome is by getting courage. Don't let fear become an impediment because on the other side of fear is always a great opportunity, right? Waiting for you. Right? So they say challenge should be overcome or should be converted into an opportunity. Likewise, fear should not kind of pull you down, but should kind of help you, or should be overcome through fear so that you tend to get better things in life or get the intended out. Let's look at the final frictional force here, which is ego. Something that we all tend, however much spiritual we may be, however much humble we may be, we all tend to get ego. And what is ego in a realistic sense? Ego comes from this thing that I know it all. I have been there, I have done that. I'll tell you, man, I know this. This is not going to work, but this is going to work. Trust me, I know it, right? And this block comes because we are very, very confined in our particular domain. We do not want to step out of our domain. We are very comfortable. It's like that frog in the well kind of situation, right? We are very happy there. And we don't want to take efforts. But that's the biggest impediment to growth. In Sepia, the biggest impediment is ego because that is what stops you from learning. And if you stop learning, you stop to grow. Right? If you look at some of these very popular philosophers, right, you would have noticed that from 4th century BC onwards, there's been a common vein that goes when it comes to ego. Alvin Toffler, a popular writer, says that the actual illiterates of the 21st century will not be those people who cannot read or write. right? The 3 R's. But it's the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. But basically, people who are so deep rooted in their anger, saying that this is right, this is what I know is right. They're the people who are actually illiterate, right? And then, if you look at anti-atheists of somebody who lived 400, 500 years, 300 years before Christ, he says the same thing, right? The most useful piece of learning is for the uses of life, is to unlearn what is untrue, right? So things can be stale, right? It's time that we keep grinding DAX, sharpening DAX, wherever so often, so that we are always in commission. We always tend to work and be better. So this is the concept of ego. So if you want to kind of diagrammatically place how ego is, the only way is to open your porous border, right? So your borders were tight, you do not allow learning. Make it porous, so allow knowledge to come in. Share your knowledge with other people. Be ready to be corrected whenever you make a mistake. Most often not be, I especially tend to keep quiet because I'm scared, especially in a team discussion, that I might be proved wrong. There might be points that I might probably know which I've shared, scared to share. Because why? Somebody says, no, you're wrong. That will hurt my ego and I do not want to be hurt. But then the only way to do this is to be open to criticism, to open to learn from other people. Right? So we have looked at the 5 forces of growth, Sepia. We have looked at the 5 frictional forces, which is doubt, conflict, anger, fear, and ego. And how do you overcome this? Are by the letters in blue, underneath: approval, dialogue, acceptance, courage, and humility, according. Now there are 3 very, very important levers that we must be very cognizant of and must use it to the right degree. Okay. What are these 3 forces? We call them the capacity levers. Why do we call them the capacity levers? Because they can either take you up or they can pull you down, just like a lever is. Right? We must be very cognizant of what these are. The first is vulnerability. Okay. Look at Kodak. You all know the Kodak story, right? Kodak at the epitome of their, at the height of their business, where like people were very contented in what they're doing in the film industry. That's why we often use the phrase even today, saying that was our Kodak moment, right? It's so popular, right? It was synonymous to having a great time, great family time that you wanted to capture for posterity through a photograph. We're all very happy being in that siloed environment, right? We do not want to step out. But being vulnerable actually is very good, right? Because it helps you grow, or helps boost up your capacity 10 times. Look at this picture here. You might have a knowledge packet or knowledge cluster in markets. You might have a knowledge cluster in behavioral analysis. You might have a knowledge cluster in technology, in business, so on and so forth. You're very, very happy in that particular knowledge cluster. Your vulnerability is in between. How do you connect market and behavior? How do you connect market and technology, or business and behavior? That is the gray area, and that is where people are. But when you tend to connect them, right, that's when your growth goes up 10 times more. The next very important lever is appreciation. There is a research which says that whenever somebody jumps a job, right, gets into a new job, it's only for the first 3 months that the salary looks really attractive. And more often not salary looks only attractive on the offer letter. When the actual amount gets credited to your salary, minus your PF, minus your tax, minus this and that, the figures are not that very romantic, not very appealing. But then what is it that keeps a person driving? Is that awesome feeling that you get when you appreciate somebody, right? And also when you get appreciated by somebody, even more so. When your colleague or your senior says, you did a wonderful job, right? Here, I would like to appreciate you. And that appreciation can be in any small way. It can be a simple pat on the back and say, great job, man. I love the way you handle that particular webinar. Or it can be a pizza outing saying that, hey, guess what? You guys did a wonderful job. As a team, I would like to appreciate you. Let's go out and have a pizza, right? Or it can be a simple certificate of appreciation like this. This is something that we do at the School of Design. When somebody least expects it, right? You get a wonderful certificate, a very small, this is only a postcard size, from the boss saying that, hey, you know what? I love the way you did this. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. And this actually is so cool. You pin it up on your desk, right, for others to see. You talk about it, and it makes you feel so good. Yeah, I know it kind of boosts up your ego because it helps you. But that's nice. That's a nice feeling to have. The bone me that you get in the team is really cool. Appreciation, it builds up your capability, right? Again, diagrammatically putting it, So when you're appreciated for whatever you do, right? There's a positive reinforcement. So you feel happy, yeah, you can do it. You have the capability to do it, and it expands multiple fold, right? So your appreciation knowledge packets tend to grow, and you get this feeling, yeah, I can take care of things. But then what happens is when you're not appreciated over a long period of time, people tend to ignore you. On the other side, it tends to contract because everybody wants to be appreciated. That's the way life is, right? The final thing and very important thing is limiting belief. And I don't think any other picture can so evocatively put it through like this simple rope that is, tied to one of the legs of a giant elephant. Now, as the story goes, and we all probably would be familiar with it, when a young calf elephant, was tied to a particular post, was probably unable to break that rope. But as it grew into this massive, towering over 8-10 feet tall, huge elephant, it is still tied by this small rope to its leg. The only thing that stops this elephant breaking that rope and walking away is that limiting belief in its head that it cannot do that. Why? Because it tried doing it when it was a kid, but it never tried it later on. And that's the biggest problem. When you are put into a vulnerable zone, right? When you're overcome with doubts and fears, that's when you put yourself in a limiting areas. You doubt your capabilities, saying, whether can I deliver a particular task? And this is especially true when you, for example, tend to take a lecture, a new subject, right? You are stepping in probably as a subordinate teacher because the main teacher is not there, and you're in an aligned domain, and you tend to take the class. Can I do it? These are senior students. I was taking probably the first year students, first year undergraduates. These are first year postgraduates. They come with a totally different mindset. Am I capable enough? Limiting belief is what holds us back from reaching our full potential. Right? So again, to put that in a diagrammatic format, you have capacity holders which holds you through. You have a knowledge network which helps you connect all your knowledge packets, right? And your knowledge beliefs, when it holds you, is your limiting belief that you cannot do it. So you're within the confines of your existing knowledge that you cannot look beyond. I have majored in defense and strategic studies. I can probably talk of things military, but can I talk of anthropology? Can I talk of sociology? Maybe not. I have never tried it, so I limit myself that I cannot do it. However, when you're able to talk beyond, when you're able to connect a dot, that, like how it says in the lower right part of your screen, increases your capacity 10 times. So what happens when you talk of a self-worth, right? Especially in terms of appreciation. When somebody appreciates you, wow, you feel great. Brilliant job. Fantastic job. You have done a wonderful thing. But suddenly, oops, somebody criticizes you. So, okay, shucks, I didn't do great at that point in time. Drop it. I don't like it. Then somebody else says, well done. No, you did something else better. Somebody else might say, no, that was not done. So your self-worth typically goes up and down based on the criticisms you get, based on the appreciations, and this also affects your belief on your capability. So to summarize, what are the three capacity levers? Being vulnerable or being in the vulnerable zone helps you in improving your thinking 10 times. Appreciation, it increases your capacity 10 times, right? You overcome your limiting belief. And limiting belief, if not overcome, pulls on your capacity 10 times. Right? It's again like going back to the Puranas, right? Down your capacity. Hanuman had to be told every time, Hanuman, you can do this, you can do that. Jumping across to Lanka is not difficult for you. Keep boosting it up and he achieves it. In a sense, we all are, right? We always need to have that pat on the back saying, yeah, you can do it. So that the 13 musical notes that I wanted to share with you. So we had a wonderful discussion. If you have any questions that I can probably take on now, I'll be more than happy.
You can come in here, you can unmute yourself, and you can ask the question.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
To Dr. Ramakrishnan, sir. Sorry again to disturb you in this part of the question. Like there were a few exercises that you have been given, that we were being given by you, in which we had some sort of changes. You have taken one example and explained us, and it will be fine if you can tell for as a global version where it stands for whichever the value that I get it for the test result, which I get it in the negative side, or in the positive side, or if it is almost all neutral, will be on which side? Because it needs expertise to be commented upon rather than assuming ourselves.
Okay.
I'm talking about the rethink / EQ questionnaire that you floated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes. So as I said at the outset, this is more for self-reflection. Now, nothing here is wrong. Even if you look at the decaf, and those decaf points are actually the questions that were there in the DQ assessment, right? Doubt, conflict, fear, anger, and ego. Now, as I said at the outset, this is not wrong. Having doubt, conflict, fear, anger, or egos by itself, not bad. There should be them to an extent, right? Otherwise, we'll all be saints if we have absolutely none of this. But having them under the appropriate control is what is required. Now, what that assessment did for you or help you to ascertain, right, is to know where you are positive. So the positive are the areas where you are doing good. If you have gone through the questions, right, carefully, and when you answered them, the result would have shown you there are certain areas which are positive. For some, there were certain areas which are negative. So the negative areas are where you need to kind of take a relook at, apply these concepts that we just spoke about, right? And then see how you can put it into practice over a repeatedly over a long period of time, so that slowly it goes into the positive.
Sir, if you allow, I would like to come in here. If you can share your slide when you're talking about at the end, when you are summarizing the decaf. That slide will help. When you are summarizing the decaf at the end, that will answer the query, because if you see the plus and minus of the test, these are only these 5 points, and you have also given the reason. If you have a minus in the doubt area, it means you need to approve. You have to go for approval of yourself. You need to accept that what you are. And if you have a conflict on something, that you have to start having an concept of dialogue. You should be open for dialogue, not debate. And if you are having an anger, it means you need to work on your acceptance. So this particular slide answers what you're talking about. If it is plus, no issue. But if it is minus, there is a solution to it here as well. Ego can only be solved by humility. Fear can only be solved by courage. So all the participants, if you can capture this particular screenshot, you will get all the answer for your that EQ.
Absolutely, absolutely, very very true.
My understanding in that is exactly the opposite, because as I see in my case, I get almost negative value. I posted it in the chat also. But what I thought is deferring that. That's why I wanted to take an expert opinion on that. The doubt is negative on both sides, so I thought it is better. And if anger is on the negative side, it is better. So, but no, what you say is the other way.
Correct, sir. Yeah. That's why if you could probably.
So I thought I'll have more clarity from you as an expert.
Sir. Thank you, sir. If you actually go back to those very provocative questions, right, against which you would have probably marked your answer, right, you would have noticed that they kind of would have made you think as to how you would react to a certain situation. Many of those would have been situational questions, right? And take a relook at that. And that's how it is kind of connected to the outcome. So all this it's not kind of taken in isolation, they are together. But when everything is in a negative, it does not mean things are hopeless. It just needs a little more effort, probably would have to be there. I wouldn't want to share my results with you. They would be looking probably worse. So yes, we are all at our stage of.
No, it doesn't matter if it's negative or so. I thought I'll share it with you so that I will try to shape myself in a better version, at least in future, if at all it is reflecting the actual scenario as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, does anyone else wants to come in here, or shall we formally close this? Yeah. Anyone?
Sir,
okay.
This is Alok Mishra, sir. In fact, sir, I want to know how to incorporate the negotiation as far as designing is technical designing is concerned. Negotiation.
Can you repeat the question, sir? Negotiation when it comes to technical design.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, I am talking about the negotiation in technical design, sir. There may be some conflict, then we have to negotiate. Maybe through dialoguing, maybe through overcoming some problem, some entities.
Correct. True. So how do you negotiate? Is that your question?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I would request you to kind of hold that question for later, because your question encompasses a lot of inputs. First of all, whom are you negotiating with?
Yeah.
What are you negotiating for? What is the intended outcome that you and the other person have, right? Which are not currently being met where it needs to be negotiated, right? So this all brings into picture certain elements like who are your stakeholders you are working with? What is your end state? What is the problem that you have actually defined? Should it be defined further? What is the root cause of your negotiation? There are a lot of things that you'd have to actually look into. So if I answer these questions now, it will kind of be premature. We are touching into all those aspects, like Ramki said, because you're all getting into those questions right at the outset. But our subsequent sessions will help you on answering those questions. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alok, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I guess, do we have any more queries now left? Or shall we discuss them formally? I think Dr. Ramakrishna Ramani, it's wonderful to hear from you. I can tell you, I have gone through such session previously as well, but this is one of the best. You have the way you have explained each and everything. I could expect it to have it more 30 minutes more than that, because I could see you were accelerating at the later part of your presentation just to make it finish within the deadline. But it was an amazing presentation, sir. And I have no doubt at all. Every one of you have learned a lot. Thank you so much, and we will keep on having you on various upcoming sessions for the rest of the 4 days. I think all our participants are already having the schedule with them, and I would also like to thank Ramnath ji here. I think he has already shared the feedback for the day, and also one exercise to be done by our participant. I have already shared that through the WhatsApp group. I could also started seeing some pain. I know it happens. We are quite occupied with other things, but it's not like for your marking and all. The examination will held at the last session, a very formal exam. This is for your own learning to gauge where you stand now and how your understanding has improved after going through these sessions and all. So don't take it as an exam, take it as an exercise to learn. And I hope all of you will what we in a totally healthy manner participate and try your best in those submissions and all. So with this, I think, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you, sir. The last lines were very encouraging. It meant for us to just to learn something, just to
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
in spite of the examination only. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So, sir, can I have some literature more on that? 13 notes, 13 notes.
Sir, we could not hear you. Can you be slightly louder, please? Because we could not hear you. Or you can write down your query in the chat box. We will take it from there if you wish.
Yes, I think, yeah. Yes, a bandwidth issue.
Okay, someone is asking for your contact details and all. So we will be sharing it on, I think, day 5 of this FDP, the contact detail of all the people in one go, so that they will also have a record. We'll do that. But in the meantime, sir, if you would like to ask something and if you could not get a proper audio, you please write down here only so that we can take it query. See, I will be sharing the LinkedIn ID, profile, everything of all the resource person anchors at the last day of our FDP. So be little patient, and we are going to hear from Dr. Ramakrishna Ramani for a few more things. I think maybe in day 2 or day 3, he will be there. So we will keep on interacting with him. So you need not to worry. And I think Ramnaji will be also going to take some of the sessions. So next couple of days. Okay. So I think, sir, he could. I think he wants to know more about theoretical musical mode. So I think we will be sharing this PPT with all of the participants, and it's an humble request from my side just to go through it. Don't try to learn so much in day 1, because it comes with the practice. Just like you have to accept it first. So this is my experience for this DT for last 3 years. So we will be sharing this presentation with all of you. Go through it as per your convenience and try to design the thinking for, then we'll talk about the other things.
What I'm trying to share with you all in the past 1.5 hours is something that actually takes close to 2 days in a physical workshop.
True. And I think Ramnaji, they're asking for any deadline for the submission of the assignment which I shared.
No, nothing.
So it is not a deadline, it is just a feedback from your side to the speakers. You just submit it as per your convenience. They will go through it and it will act as a feedback.
Correct.
So I want to day 5 last session beyond whatever that is for learning. So better participate in each and everything as per best of your ability, and we are here to learn. We are learning together and growing together. And Ramnaji, I would expect you to share the PPT in the next 1 hour or something, so that I can share it with all the faculty, all the participants, because they keep on asking me. They want to brush up things in the evening, so they can come tomorrow with what we can say the full, we call it the Josh should be high. So with that, we once again thank you, Dr. Ramakrishna Ramani ji, for this wonderful session. And this 30 musical notes going to be played in our mind for quite a long time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Hima ma'am. Thank you, Ramnath ji. And thank you all the participants to be here. We will be meeting tomorrow at 9:30 sharp. So I will request every one of you to be ready at least 10 minutes prior to the scheduled time. Thank you so much and have a nice day to all of you. I guess attendance link has been shared with you, feedback and all other things are done. So we are through for the day. Have a nice day to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day. It was very nice attending your.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj, for such kind appreciation.
Thank you so much, sir.
You can leave. I will try to make some changes. I want to save some files here. You can leave as per your convenience, sir. I will be just directing my chat histories and all to the proper folder. It may take some time.
Okay.
Then I will. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.